the KMNN studios, this is the Kids Morning News Network.
Hey everybody, happy Monday. It's May 13th, 2024, the 134th day of the year. I'm Alex in the KMNN studio in New York. I hope you had a good weekend. It's a good day for eating because it's not only International Hummus Day, it's also National Fruit Cocktail Day and National Apple Pie Day. I think I know what I'm having for lunch. Did you see the Northern Lights this weekend? The lights, also known as the Aurora Borealis, are like colorful dancing lights in the sky that you can see at night. They're usually only visible in the far north, especially the Arctic. But a big storm on the sun meant that over the weekend, the so-called Northern Lights were visible in some unusual southern places, like Southern California and Florida. So how does that work, and why does a storm on the sun make the northern lights stronger? Well, the sun is always throwing off tiny particles, almost like a sprinkler in space. These particles are called solar wind. Now, imagine the Earth is a giant magnet. It has this invisible force field around it. Most of the time, Earth's magnetic field shields us from the solar wind. But around the north and south poles, the force field is weaker. So some of the solar wind sneaks in and crashes into the Earth's atmosphere, which is the layer of gas that surrounds our planet. And these super fast particles, when they hit the atmosphere, they bump into the gas molecules, mostly oxygen and nitrogen. That makes the gas molecules light up in different colors. Kind of the same way a neon sign glows when the electricity hits the gas inside. And the colors depend on which gas molecules get hit. Oxygen makes mostly green and red auroras, while nitrogen can create purple, pink, and blue streaks in the sky. The lights look like they're dancing and swirling across the sky, forming curtains, rays, or even spirals. When the sun has a big storm, it kind of burps out a big wave of these particles, which makes the northern lights visible even far to the south. If you missed the northern lights this time around, like we did here in the KMNN newsroom because it was cloudy, don't worry. Storms in the sun come in 11-year cycles. The current cycle will be at its peak next year. So we could have another chance to see the northern lights, even in the south. Imagine a flower so valuable that you could use it like money. You could buy a house with just one. Well, it happened. Do you know what tulips are? They're beautiful, very brightly colored flowers you see in the springtime. People love them. In fact, this past weekend was the Tulip Festival up in Albany, New York. In Europe, in the year 1636, tulips were new. They had just been imported from the Middle East. People were going nuts for them, especially in the country of Holland. To get an idea of what it was like, imagine you and your friends going crazy for a new version of a card game like Pokemon. Everyone wants the rarest cards, and they're willing to trade tons of other cards or even their lunch money to get them. That's kind of what happened with tulips in Holland in the 1600s. Only instead of trading cards, it was tulip bulbs, which are what tulips grow from. They're like giant seeds. People started buying and selling tulip bulbs like crazy. The price of a single bulb could cost more than a house. Well, unlike houses, tulip bulbs don't last very long. Plus, there were way more people buying bulbs than there were actually planting them. So at some point, a lot of people just stopped and said, what are we doing? By early 1637, nobody wanted tulip bulbs anymore, at least not for those prices. So the price went way down almost overnight, in what's called a crash. And people who spent all this money on bulbs couldn't sell them and make their money back. They were left with nothing except, a bunch of worthless tulip bulbs. Well, this tulip mania was the first time in history that this kind of buying craziness was recorded, but it definitely hasn't been the last. It still happens today. sometimes things just aren't worth as much as people say they are. And prices can go up and then down really fast. Tulips are still around though. Unfortunately, they don't cost as much as a house anymore. This time of year, you can often find tulip festivals like the one up in Albany. It's riddle time. Wednesday's riddle was, I'm as big as an elephant, but I weigh nothing. What am I? An elephant's shadow. Today's riddle, I am a word with letters 3. Add 2, and fewer there will be. What am I? I'll say it again. I am a word with letters 3. Add 2, and fewer there will be. What am I? Give you the answer on Wednesday. Alaska is known as a great place to see wildlife. Bears, caribou, wolves, it's critter central. And it's also now a great place to see robots in the wild. Yes, robots. You know, one place you don't want to see wildlife is at the airport. Animals and airplanes really don't mix, whether it's a furry creature on the runway or a bird flying in the sky. The animal getting in the way of a plane taking off or landing can be very dangerous, both for the animal and the plane. So in Alaska, with all its wildlife, keeping everyone safe at airports is a big job. Now, plenty of other airports have that same problem. Some of them use drones to scare birds and other creatures away. Some use loud noises. Anchorage Airport in Alaska used wild pigs for a while. The pigs would eat birds' eggs, leaving fewer birds to get in the way of airplanes. But now, Alaska's Fairbanks Airport is rolling out a new four-legged animal repellent, a robot fox, or robot coyote, actually, depending on what kind of camouflage it has on. This robot, called Aurora, like Aurora Borealis, it walks like a dog. Every hour, it'll walk on its four legs and circle the outside of the airport to scare birds and other animals away. It'll act like a predator so that hopefully birds steer clear. And it has these panels that can be swapped in and out to make it look sort of like a fox or a coyote, kind of like robot costumes. Now, they're pretty sure this is going to work for the birds, but authorities hope it'll scare other wildlife away too. What they might get is a bunch more people to watch this robot do its thing. Well, it looks like there will be a lot of rain today in the middle of the country and up in Montana. But good news, Montana. For once, no snow. Other than that, it looks like a pretty mild day around the country. All right, that's the Monday show. Thank you very much for listening. As always, please like us on your podcast app. Please subscribe to the show, share it, and spread the word about the Kids Morning News Network. Grown-ups, is this show worth a quarter? If you'd like to become a supporter, even for just $3 a month, there's a link in the episode description. I'll be back Wednesday, and I hope you are too. From the KMNN Newsroom, this is Alex signing off.